The dust swirled around Amara's ankles as she stood before the village elders. Their faces, etched with disappointment and anger, were a stark contrast to the bright blue sky above. "You have brought shame upon your family," boomed the chief, his voice echoing the sentiment of the entire village. "By refusing to accept the marriage proposal from the royal family, you have severed ties with our most valued ally." Amara held her head high, her chin tilted up defiantly. Her heart hammered against her ribs, but her gaze was unwavering. "With all due respect, chief, I did not bring shame to my family. I chose love." A murmur rippled through the crowd. To defy the royal family was akin to spitting into the wind. It was unheard of, unthinkable. Yet here was Amara, their finest warrior, doing exactly that. "Love," scoffed the chief. His eyes narrowed. "You speak of love as if it is the highest virtue, yet it is the root of all foolishness. You are a warrior, Amara. Your duty is to the clan, not to some fanciful notion of romance." "My duty is to myself," she retorted, her voice ringing with conviction. "I will not marry a man I do not love. I will not bear children for a king I do not respect." The elders exchanged uneasy glances. Never had they witnessed such audacity, such blatant disregard for tradition. Amara wasn't just any warrior. She was the pride of the Azor clan, undefeated in battle, unmatched in skill. And now she was challenging not just their customs, but the very foundation of their society. Her father, the late chieftain, had forged an alliance with the neighboring kingdom by promising his daughter Eshan. This was a union that had been years in the making, a strategic move to secure their position. But Amara had other plans. She had met a young hunter named Jabari during one of her training sessions in the forest. His name meant brave, and his spirit matched his moniker. He was fearless, kind, and his laughter echoed the joy in her heart whenever they met. They had fallen in love under the canopy of ancient trees, their bond growing stronger than the mightiest oak. But their happiness was a fragile thing, constantly threatened by the looming presence of the royal family. For when the emissaries arrived to claim Amara for her arranged marriage, she knew she had to make a choice. Lineage or love, duty or freedom, tradition or happiness. The decision tore at her soul, leaving a gaping wound in her chest. In the end, she chose love. When the royal party arrived, she refused to accept the prince's proposal. She rejected the lavish gifts and the promises of power, choosing instead the simple life with Jab. She would forfeit her title, her status, and her place in history. Now the village elders were gathered to decide her fate. Some whispered that she should be banished, cut off from her homeland forever. Others argued that she should be given another chance, that her defiance could be forgiven. The chief rubbed his weathered forehead, his gaze heavy with thought. "You have indeed chosen love over your duty," he finally said, his voice softer now. "But love alone is not enough. Marriage is a bond not just between two hearts, but between two families, two clans, even two nations. By rejecting the prince, you have rejected the alliance we have so carefully cultivated. The neighboring kingdom may now view us as untrustworthy, and war could be at our doorstep before the sun sets." Amara stepped forward, her chin lifting in determination. "Then let them come," she said, her voice echoing her clan's indomitable spirit. "If war is what they seek, then war is what they shall get. I may have rejected the royal family, but I am still the daughter of this clan, and I will defend this village with my life." Her words hung in the air, a defiant challenge. The elders looked at each other, their faces grim. They had all underestimated Amara. They had thought her a spoiled child, reckless and selfish, throwing away everything for a mere infatuation. But now they saw that she was unwavering, resolute. One of the elders finally spoke, his voice gruff with emotion. "We cannot punish you, Amara. Your actions, though misguided, were born out of love. To do otherwise would be to go against the very essence of our society, a society that values love and loyalty above all else." Relief washed over Amara, but she knew that her ordeal was far from over. The neighboring kingdom would not take kindly to a rejection, and their wrath could be devastating. Still, she had the support of her village, and together they would face whatever challenges lay ahead. As the sun began its slow descent, casting long shadows across the village, Amara found herself standing beside Jabari. His arm was around her shoulder, his presence a comforting anchor in the storm of uncertainty that raged within her. "I never thought I'd be standing here," she confessed, her voice barely a whisper. "I thought I'd be marrying the prince, living a life of luxury and privilege." "And you chose not to," Jabari said, his thumb gently stroking her back. "You chose to be true to yourself, to your heart." Amara turned to him, her eyes shining with unshed tears. "What if I'm wrong, Jabari? What if I've endangered our people for nothing? What if the neighboring kingdom attacks?" He cupped her face in his hands, his thumbs wiping away the stray tears that had escaped. "Then we will face it together," he said, his voice firm, his gaze unwavering. "Your courage has inspired me, Amara. How can you be so sure?" She looked into his eyes, searching for a hint of hesitation, a flicker of fear. But all she found was unwavering determination and love. It was a love that transcended societal norms, a love that had the strength to unite, to heal, to conquer. In that moment, Amara knew she wasn't just loved by Jabari, but by her people, too. They had seen her struggle, her internal battle between duty and desire, and they understood. They had all faced similar crossroads in their lives, and they knew the importance of following one's heart. As the first stars began to appear in the darkening sky, the villagers gathered together, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of the evening. Around them, the rhythmic sounds of drums and singing filled the air, blending together in a harmonious melody that echoed the rhythm of their hearts. Before them stood Amara and Jabari, their hands intertwined, their eyes reflecting the firelight and the love they shared. In that circle of light and sound, Amara's fears seemed to fade away, replaced by a sense of belonging, of community, of love. She knew that her decision had been difficult, but it had brought her closer to her people, to herself, to Jabari. They had all chosen love, and love, she knew, was the most powerful force in the world. The celebrations lasted long into the night, the joyous laughter of the villagers echoing into the darkness as the moon climbed higher in the sky, bathing the world in its silvery glow. Amara and Jabari stole moments away from the festivities to share a quiet, secluded space under the watchful gaze of the stars. Jabari rested his forehead against hers, his eyes reflecting the starlight. "We are truly blessed, Amara," he whispered, his voice husky with emotion. "To have your love, to have your trust, to have your heart." Amara's heart swelled with love and gratitude. "And to have yours, Jabari, to have your strength, your kindness, your very essence. To be loved by you is to be truly cherished." They stood there, embraced, lost in the magic of their love, oblivious to the world around them, their hearts beating in unison, their souls entwined. In that moment, there was no one else for Amara but Jabari, and no one else for Jabari but Amara. As the night deepened and the stars twinkled overhead, Amara and Jabari knew that their journey together had just begun. They had defied tradition and societal norms, and in doing so, they had found their true selves, their true love, and their true place in the world.